Good morning. Good morning, honey. So, breakfast time. Minggo tayo, oy. How about the seed, honey? You like to bite the seed?
The what?
The seed.
The fish.
The seed.
Feed
The
for
mingo.
what? The feed for what?
Seed for the mingo. Good morning, guys. So this is my man's breakfast. This is his breakfast. 2 pieces of mango. I heard the kids crying. You heard, honey?
The what?
The kids crying
No.
like this.
No. Why are you wearing that shirt today?
Feel cold, honey? Why? I'm cold.
You feel cold. You're fine.
You're funny. Why?
Why?
Why I'm funny?
Why? Because you're a Filipino. You're a tiny Filipino.
Yes, I am. I am a tiny Filipina. Yes, you're correct.
Take a look at this here on your screen now. A post from a Fox 11 reporter Matthew C.
Heidi Sung Sung TV, shout out to you.
Sources
Why,
tell
I'm
me
so
the
ano.
rock thrower from Saturday's violent clash in
Mamahaw kita, oy.
California has been identified.
Hi, guys. Thank you, Lee Sung Sung TV.
Sabrina is the man
So, my man's breakfast here is
There's a $15,000 reward leading to
Mingo. Oh.
But I want to showcase some of that video that Matthew is referencing to. He did break this story for our team at Fox 11. So take a look here. In case you
It's a
haven't
yummy. Ako naman.
noticed, a second video is showcasing for you, and that is the suspect that right now we are searching for. Authorities are identifying now Saturday.
Eggs.
Sometimes take a year to Paramount, California.
May ibos ako. Here. Hi, shout out to you, Ezekiel. Shout out. Follow TV, shout out to you. How are you? Ayaw niya yung ano guys, liso ba? Liso. You don't want liso. Look like I want, you want egg, honey? Honey, you want egg? So mag-init tayo ng tubig. Are you Chinese? Oh no, I'm not. Sap fine shine. How you da? I'm not Chinese. I am a Filipino. Filipina.
Let's head up to this live event. We're heading over to Washington, D.C. as we are seeing lawmakers here in
How about you? Are you a Chinese? Oh, my bad. My bad. No, you're not bad. It's okay. Some people say that I'm Chinese because of my eye. I have a small eyes. That. So it's okay. Let it go, let it go. I am half Mexican, half Japanese. Wow, good. That's great. Need to put water in my heater. Magkapi-kapi tayo eh.
Fox News contributor Andy McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney. And I want to run by what a current U.S. attorney said about all of this. This is Jerome
I'm half Mexican and half Japanese. Oh, good to know that.
used at the University of Michigan laboratory is part of an alarming pattern that threatens our security. The American taxpayer should not be underwriting a PRC-based smuggling operation.
Are you sure
at one of our crucial public institutions. I mean, the fact
Chicken.
usually when you're talking about bioweapons, what we're talking about here is landborne, which is a parasite. So it's not a virus, it's a bacteria. We can bioweapons. It's alarming in a number of ways. It could be involved in, contamination of humans, of agriculture, water supply. So you have to be concerned about that. The fact that it's coming from China, the fact that the student evidently swiped the communications device she had clean before she came here, I think 3 days before coming to the United States. All of that is alarming. I think the Justice Department appears to be going at it with, appropriate caution. According to the president,
Hindi enough ang ating naibos sa kape. So much. What did you say? What did you say? Broly booster. Oh.
Samples of certain fungi being seized. Those are fungi that if they got out in the greater agricultural community here,
What do you mean? That is why your comment is automatic deleted by Google. Because I think there's something wrong with it.
if this was a random kid from a different country, we might be able to sort of slough it off a little bit more.
Let it go. Itlog tayo sa aga.
Involvement in China, and because
There's
China
a little
presses
bit
its
of oil in
its
it.
companies into the service of its
Wala na tayong
intelligence.
butter.
You have to assume the worst and hope as you investigate that it turns out to be benign.
Did you enjoy your mango?
California,
Mango lang siya, mango. Hi everybody! My shirt is Iloilo! Siyempre favorite natin, green guys. So naka-green tayo. Huwag niyo lang tingnan yung shirt kong pink. Ka-Iloilo tayo eh.
The Secretary of Defense is illegally deploying them onto American streets, so Trump can have a talking point, and it's great to link with you.
Sabihin mo na itong itlog eh.
This is a red line, and they're crossing it. In terms of this idea of it being illegal to deploy the Marines, they're just there. My understanding is to stop all of the national guard. President Trump has a long sign of this news. He absolutely, the president absolutely has the law on his side. Since the Civil War, the courts have recognized that the president not only has the authority but the duty to protect the United States when there are
Let it go,
conditions
let it go.
enforcement of the
Did you
immigration
react?
laws is a
You like it?
primary federal responsibility. The Supreme Court has held that for
Yes, thank you.
years now.
Thank you,
The president
dear.
has
You're
unquestioned
welcome.
authority to
Oh, you
protect
did not finish it, Ani. There's more there.
resources, federal facilities, including buildings that have been attacked.
It was your fault already.
Obviously, to protect the execution of federal law. So I really don't think
Can you
there's
do me a
a
favor?
point to stand on.
What is that?
So let me ask you this
I need
question.
two flow.
Close?
Make it flow. That's all.
Could this get to the Supreme Court on an emergency?
This one?
petition from the White House very quickly? Yeah,
So?
Justice Roberts has been pretty emphatic, John, that the court can act quickly when there's an emergent situation. I don't expect.
You reckon, sir?
The courts can be as determining as perhaps he expects. Interesting. All right, Eddie, we'll see how this progresses. It's certainly going to be fascinating to watch all this unfold. Appreciate your time, sir. We'll see you tonight.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Spaniel. Catch me and my co-host Eric Holzer and Katie McEnany on House Numbers every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern or Center DVR.
So,
Don't forget to
kain na
subscribe.
tayo tuwing umaga. Ay, may hot water there.
Your future stays protected.
Found love for you. Darling, Honey, I have egg. You want? I will put some yummy. Pinaka-egg. Want to try? Egg. You want to try egg? You do want. It's okay.
Let mom in.
Okay, boss.
Do your life and leave me alone.
I'll leave you alone. It's okay. I have Ibos here. Ibos live. So, lagyan natin guys na ano to. Ng mayonnaise at saka ketchup.
In response to the anti-ICE protests out in LA, that brings the total now up to 4,000. Pentagon also sending
You must bring this one of the salmon.
operation until the National Guard is fully.
You bring in another pundo.
Suing the Trump administration
Do
for
you see?
sending in the National Guard. The suit calls the deployment unlawful since Governor Gavin Newsom did not request to it or accede to it. President Trump writing on Truth Social moments ago, if I didn't send in the troops to Los Angeles the last 3 nights, that once beautiful and great city would be burning to the ground right now, much like 25,000 houses burned to the ground in LA due to an incompetent governor and mayor.
Well, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is here with reaction, but Madeline Rivera also at the White House for us first, though we will go to Jonathan Hunt. He is out in LA with the story. Hi, Jonathan.
New smartphones o new wearables. Alam nyo na marami na mag-try ng mga Huawei.
Good morning to you, Gillian and John. I have to say off the top that it is a far less tense situation on the streets of downtown LA than it was when we were talking to you just 24 hours ago from here outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. You can see now just a handful of National Guard troops behind me guarding that building. Yesterday, there was a line of them across the street, roadblocks at every corner staged by the LAPD. Not so today.
Time to eat, guys.
It might be a sign that they feel that the protests are deemed to some extent. Having said that, there was a lot of violence once again on the streets. Enforcement across the board, federal and local, seem to have a much better handle on how to keep it under control. The forces moved in, the LAPD along with the LA Sheriff's Department.
Shout out to everybody.
Highway Patrol and
Let's have
federal agents. They
breakfast.
splintered the groups that were here in their thousands in downtown LA, and they managed to pick off protesters one by one, making up to, we believe, 100 arrests yesterday. And now those groups have dissipated completely. A calm scene here at 6 a.m. this Tuesday morning. We did see signs of just how organized the protests are as well. We saw a truck pull up at one point last night, appeared to be handing out gas masks
Hi, guys.
to protesters and other supplies, just a sign that there is clearly organization within this. In the meantime, authorities continue to go after every one of those protesters who engaged in violent acts. There was one particular gentleman who was caught on camera throwing rocks at
Nami.
officers. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, talked to Amity last night and said they know who that guy is. Listen here to Pam Bondi.
That guy has just been identified, and they are doing a search warrant on his house as we speak. So you can run, you can't hide. We are coming after you federally. If you assault a police officer, if you rob a store, if you if you spit on a police officer, we're coming after you.
Oh my God. What
Meantime, we
happened to
expect
the
to
boy?
see Marines on the streets.
Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn of the great state of Tennessee, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, good to see you today. Look, this is more difficult politically by the day, and I've already talked about the victims on the ground, those businesses and homeowners caught in the fray of all of this. What is the talk on Capitol Hill right now, Senator?
The talk on Capitol Hill, Harris, is that President Trump is within his right and is doing the right thing to send in troops to protect federal buildings that are there in LA. Of course, they should do that. When you look at what is happening on the streets,
Iloilo.
the looting, the burning of automobiles, the destruction of property, and by the way, many of those businesses we're hearing are minority-owned businesses. When you have the police chief saying, "We are overwhelmed, we need help," then you know that it is appropriate for the president to respond
Gutom na
and
gutom
send
ako.
in the National Guard to help and assist, and to send in troops to protect the federal.
Yes, I am Filipino.
Look,
I am proud to be Filipino, you know.
It's a
Right.
disturbing video showing California Congresswoman Maxine Waters trying to get into a federal detention facility over the weekend. She wanted to
Kaon, kaon, kaon.
who was arrested for interfering with ICE agents. A DHS official later said access to the facility was temporarily
I am a Filipino,
for the safety
born of
of
freedom.
detainees and uniformed personnel. Waters also directly addressed the troops. This is the part I'm talking about. Watch this.
Hey, boss. Tagalog. Ilongga. I am from Iloilo. Look at that.
Senator, your reaction.
And what we know is that whether it's Maxine Waters, Karen Bass, or Gavin Newsom, these are elected officials who are siding with and protecting
Saan balita? English?
criminal illegal aliens. People
Ako'y Ilongga. Hindi, nasa Iloilo. Huh? What does it mean?
So they're saying that the FBI posted this. Los Angeles FBI said the FBI has established a digital media tip line for evidence.
Hindi pa ako nasa labas. Nasa Pilipinas pa ako. Nasa loob ako ng bahay.
To immigration enforcement. So they have a whole tip line This was a little bit part of too last night. This jewelry store. That was one of the things we saw last night. It was wild. Like after when the protests started to kind of dwindle, and there was a lot of arrests happening last night. What ended up with it phased into like this whole looting spree, like a crazy.
First time ko mag-live sa Facebook sa cellphone ko. Ayun. Ano yun?
What?
Brittany Griner
Boy, what's
was in a Russian.
I said this is my first time to live Facebook in no iPhone.
You would think
If it's set up
somebody
properly.
who's now free back in America on home soil
I'm so full.
would not have too much to
How's
complain.
your aunt?
Yummy.
Brittany Griner just had a complete meltdown after Stephen A. Smith absolutely destroyed her for making racial
So
comments
piece
about
egg.
gay
That's
people.
only ano.
Russian prison survivor thought she could play the race card about crowd noise, but Stephen A. reminded
Kung makita
her
comment, bakit kaya? Ang problema.
The comeback was so brutal that Griner lost her mind completely,
May see?
which was more embarrassing for Griner, getting called out for her racial comments or having Stephen A. remind her about it. Russian prison rescue, Brittany Griner just experienced the most public humiliation of her entire career, and it's absolutely beautiful to watch. After making
And
some
it's
completely
beautiful to
tone-deaf
watch.
comments about racial undertones and crowd reactions during WNBA games,
Kailangan ko to
Stephen A.
maubos kasi
Smith decided to deliver a
kahapon
reality
pa to,
check
oy.
that sent Griner into a complete tailspin.
Lima to.
Meltdown that followed
Hindi na agahan ka na ako niya katutok. Kinahon ka pas magtutok.
Because yeah, she says that the record watches. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out,
I'm from... You'd want to try stick rice. Ay, tuko mo.
So you met Charles Manson in prison, didn't you? What was that story? Can you tell us that?
the county jail. But let me tell you, Charlie wasn't the guy that you saw on the TV specials. All right? He was
Hey, boss.
God, he was like 5'4", 5'5", little scrawny. He was poor, kind of like a bum, really. He had a string for a belt. He tied his pants with a string because he couldn't afford a belt. You know, and everybody else, we dressed, you know, cool, iron our pants. And,
Happened.
and so some of the prisoners were going to take advantage of him because they take advantage of anybody that's small. And we found out that he could hypnotize you, so we let him sleep in front of our cell to make sure that nobody would hurt him. And he got us loaded on weed, and 3 of the guys in the cell. Everybody else had like 6 guys in their cell. We only had 3 because we were special. Like 2 killers with me. And then he got us loaded on weed, and I said, well, get us loaded on heroin. So the 3 of us tried to get loaded. He got 2 of us loaded on heroin. One guy just woke up, and afterwards I asked him, how come we couldn't do him? He asked me, did you ever get loaded on heroin? He said, no. Your mind doesn't know how to work. You understand? Your mind doesn't know how to react. If I tell you to do something while you're hypnotized and you haven't done it before, or you don't know how to do it, you'll just wake up. And that's what kept happening.
Yeah, so you're saying that he got you guys loaded up on heroin or weed, but there was no heroin or weed in the room, right? He was doing it purely through hypnosis.
People know when I get loaded on heroin, my eyes, I get red under my eyes, and that's like pretty. The first thing throw up and dump. And I mean, me and Chaco was like, it's like we both come, whoa! He dumped in the sink, I dumped in the toilet, and looked like, hey, what are you doing? And oh, everybody was like shocked. And this, Johnny Ronnie Cruz, he was like, well, what happened? He never got loaded. And boy, I was sorry when they transferred Charlie out.
You've basically got unlimited access to anything that you want because he can just keep on hypnotizing you back into it. What was he in for? Do you know why he was there?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah, he was nothing of any. He was a petty thief. He wasn't. You know, and not to speak ill of the dead, but Charlie couldn't have done that any place, any time, but right there. And my friend George Perry knew him in Bristol, knew him in Oakland, okay? And he was a scrawny little hippie. And the girls that he got, Linda Casadas, all of them were broken. You know, they were up in Oakland and San Francisco being ripped off by the pimps and raped by the pimps. And so he came around with a big bus and some acid. Let me lead you. So it was kind of like, they looked at him like, yeah, he's the Messiah.
Coffee, guys.
They were already vulnerable. They were already primed for somebody like him to come in and save them.
They were so broken, you know, so needed somebody to take care of them.
In the same way that you could have done with a bit of extra heroin or weed in Britain.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for tuning in.
Oh my God. Let it go. I'm full kuno. I'm happy, tummy honey. You always feed me.
Good.
He only eat guys, mango, but me sticky rice, eggs, and coffee. What else? What I eat? This mango. Yeah, I'm full. Thank you, Lord. So I need to pack today and later. Do you think we need to bring some of our salt there, condiments?
She should have it there. Our toothbrush, shampoo.
I mean the using for cooking.
Well, we'll get whatever we need.
Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, how do you do? Milo every day. Hi everybody.
Hey, guys, surprise is already. What's going on now? Uh-oh. So this is John. All right. John, where are you from? I'm from Addis, Louisiana.
I think kanya nito.
Some Cajun. South Louisiana. You sure did. Thank you. Yeah, some great treats in there. All that turkey. All right, man. Thank
Sarap
you very
nito
much.
din man. Honey, my love. So sweet. Feel cold? Me too, that's why.
It's Louisiana. Right what's happening. I'm studying biology right now, hopefully on a pre-med track to go to medical school. I'm in passion for cancer treatment, so the dream is there sitting on college.
It's better, honey, if you are going 50, 60, something like that. Kasi umipot na no. Everything.
Catching up with you.
Ay, really? How come? Yeah, I need a little file for that again. It's okay, you can get me. 99.75. So manicure, pedicure kaya guys sa mall, sobrang mahal. So expensive. So I'll make my own pedicure on my own. So that I can save money. I don't want my mom to be broke and broke.
Do you perhaps have another song that kind of showcases your vocals a little more?
I can certainly do that. I'm gonna do a goodbye song, I promise.
So hi everybody.
Don't tell me you like that song.
I was singing it all day. It's your life.
I can't wait to be a wife.
Don't all the dreams
Honey?
we see come true.
Ano yan sila ma? Maluluka sa akin. Hi everybody.
You sing it's different now.
You keep staring at the door. Hang up. That's. How can you walk away? Don't I matter anymore?
Whoa.
If the feeling's gone,
It's gone.
words won't stop you anyway.
Anyway.
If being free
Feel free to do comment down below guys. Oh my god, what happened to my tooth? Mag-pedicure tayo kasi mahal. Honey, I do my own pedicure because I don't want you to be broke.
You do your own what?
My own pedicure.
Well, I wasn't gonna buy a pedicure.
You buy me, right?
No,
You buy me already.
no,
You did.
When?
I have already here.
when?
Yeah. That is why I'll get you broke. Because you're forget. You keep
I'm a broke man.
you keep for the things that you did to me. But I can't wait to being a wife soon.
Daniel Hayes
Not now, but soon.
Blues, a figure of
Almost
unwavering
there.
strength and discipline. Now, at 67, he drifted almost unseen through the weary veins of Fairhaven, Ohio, a town whose soul seemed to have cracked alongside its boarded-up storefronts and rusting factories. Each morning, Samuel would see his battered duffel bag over one shoulder and shuffle through the back alleys and forgotten streets. The bag's seams were frayed, much like Samuel himself, ever since the day Caroline,
I
his
put
wife,
lipstick
his anchor,
because
lost her battle with cancer.
Parang
battle that might
pagpapakita ko
have
sa
been
kamera
won
na yun.
had the VA hospital
Samsung.
not misdiagnosed her for months. He had sat helplessly by her side, watching the light drain from
Aray
her
ko.
with each passing day. When the end finally came, Samuel sold their modest house on Tremont Avenue, gathered the proceeds, and, true to Caroline's final wishes, donated it all to the local animal rescue shelter she had adored. Afterward, he simply disappeared.
Hello,
Not into the
hello,
earth, but
hello,
into a
how are
different kind of
you?
invisibility,
Mag-clean
the
tayo
kind
ng
reserved for
kuko.
the
I
broken-hearted
need to
and
clean up
forgotten. Some battles end with
toenail,
medals.
guys.
Samuel once murmured to a kindly church volunteer who had offered him a cup
My
of coffee one
toes,
snowy morning.
mine is
Others end with
my
silence.
shoulder, my
Samuel never
head.
begged. He refused to surrender the last piece of dignity he had. Instead, he survived by collecting aluminum cans, scrapping for change, and living off leftover kindness from a few places like Marcy's Diner, where
Okay.
the waitress slipped him coffee and the occasional sandwich without fuss. Most
May
people,
tag pa yung
however, chose to cross the street rather
damit,
than
hindi
see
pa
it.
ito nalaban.
As December's bitter cold settled into Fairhaven's bones, Samuel grew weaker. His coat, a
So
relic
let's
from
do
better
this,
days,
guys.
was threadbare. His boots leaked snow melt.
I
Hunger
need
gnawed
to-
at him with feral persistence. By the third day without a real meal,
My toenail.
his hands were shaking so badly he
Oh,
struggled even to lift them. That afternoon, desperate and dizzy, Samuel stumbled into Paxton's Grocery, a squat building with a sagging awning and
So
a
if you
cracked
want a
open
manicure,
sign.
pedicure,
It
just
smelled
let me.
of produce and cleaner.
I'm
But
doing
to
that.
Samuel,
Charot!
it was an oasis. He lingered near the produce section, eyeing a bin of bruised apples and day-old rolls piled haphazardly in a crate marked 50% off. His stomach twisted painfully. No one was watching. Mr. Paxton, the owner, busy helping an elderly woman at the register. The single teenage stock boy was stacking cans at the far end of the store. Samuel hesitated, the moral weight of the moment pressing down on his shoulders. But the hunger was stronger. With trembling fingers, he slipped a battered apple into the inside pocket of his jacket in a hard roll. His hands
What are you watching?
It wasn't cruelty that bruised him. It was indifference. No family waited for him on the cracked wooden benches. No friends whispered encouragement from the gallery.
Aray ko.
Just Samuel, hunched small at the defendant's table, his duffel bag tucked between his scuffed boots, as if it might still protect something precious inside. The clerk, a young woman with harried eyes and a bored tone, droned through the morning's docket. Case 19 to 842. The state versus Samuel Hayes. Samuel stood when his name was called, swaying slightly. His knees felt like brittle sticks. He could feel the quiet murmurs ripple through the courtroom. A few curious glances landed on him, and slid away, some with mild disgust, others with empty pity. At the prosecutor's table stood a young man named Alan Pierce, crisp in his blue suit, a fresh bar exam certificate still metaphorically clinging to his lapel. Pierce spoke briskly, as if Samuel were an item to be moved along the morning's conveyor belt. Your Honor, Pierce began, the defendant was apprehended while committing a petty theft at Paxton's Grocery. Surveillance footage
Time
confirms
to
the
clean
theft.
our toenail.
The defendant has no fixed
Oh my
address,
God, I don't know.
no employment,
Can take the
prior
ingrown
minor
one.
citations for loitering and public intoxication. The state recommends remand until trial to prevent further offenses. Judge Thomas Whitaker, a
There,
stern
di ka
figure
namin.
with silver hair and wire-framed glasses, barely glanced at Samuel at first. His fingers tapped against the stack of arrest reports, moving from case to case with rote efficiency. He flipped open Samuel's file, expecting to find the same parade of sadness he saw daily, when something slipped loose between the papers. It was a worn, scratched military dog tag
Miss ko yung
attached to a thin chain. It clattered
Walang
quietly onto
beauty.
the judge's bench.
list
Whitaker
ako
still.
ko ba
He
tapos
leaned
sa
forward and, for the first time,
sa
looked directly at
apartment ko
Samuel.
before.
Really looked.
Nung
The name
service.
stamped into the metal caught his breath. Hayes Samuel J. USMC. Blood
Oh my
type
God.
O+. Something deep in Whitaker's chest stirred.
That
A
is
memory
why
he
it's
hadn't called on in
pain.
years.
Hi, Kathrik Tikiki, bully bully. Shout out to you. Yes, your bully. My bully. I cut my bully, you know.
Request a 5-minute recess, Judge Whitaker said abruptly.
I cut my bully a little bit.
Prosecutor mid-sentence. The clerk
Look
blinked,
at that. It's
startled.
not that long
Pierce
anymore.
hesitated, confused.
Patrick,
Whitaker
how are you?
didn't wait for approval. He rapped his gavel once, sharp and final. Recess granted. Counsel approached.
I cut my
He
bully.
ordered, rising from his bench and disappearing into his chamber. Samuel stood there, dazed. Around him,
What
the
happened?
courtroom buzzed with quiet
I
confusion.
cut my
No one
bully.
had ever stopped the march of procedure for him before. No one had ever interrupted a system already moving to swallow him whole. He sat slowly, not daring to hope, not daring to think too far ahead. Meanwhile, behind the heavy oak doors of his chambers, Judge Whitaker stood staring down at the dog tag he held in his
How
palm.
are you, Hono? Yeah, I cut
He
some of my
closed his
hair.
eyes and let the years roll back. Fallujah 2004.
I
The
cut it.
second battle. The ambush. He could still feel the searing heat of the blast that had torn through their convoy. Could still hear the ragged screams of men pinned.
I'm
to
good.
twisted
I'm
men.
doing good.
He could still remember the moment when a figure
How
had
about
hauled him
you?
bodily out of a burning Humvee, ignoring flying bullets, ignoring his own wounds. It had been Samuel Hayes.
I'm
A
doing
man who had
live.
led and fought and saved others without
This
thought of
moment.
reward. Now sitting in an orange jumpsuit.
No
with a
stress,
bruised
no
elbow.
toxic, just
Judge
happy.
Whitaker sat
Happy
empty
life.
in his chair.
Can you remove your hair ribbon? Wanna see
The
bully?
entry stabbed at
See?
his heart.
Can see.
Discharged honorably, 2005.
Hmm.
3 tours, Bronze
I
Star
got.
recipient. Termination of VA benefits, 2007.
Cut
Reason,
my bully.
no known address. The next line was the most damning of all. Case closed. Closed. As if a man's life could simply be filed away and forgotten because he had no mailing address. Whitaker ran a trembling hand through his hair. God forgive us, he whispered. He knew in that moment that the law, the cold, indifferent law, had abandoned Samuel long before this petty theft ever happened. Back in the courtroom, Samuel hunched further into his seat, feeling the hostile air pressing down on him. A young woman in the gallery, maybe a law student, maybe a reporter, watched him with wide, curious eyes. But no one spoke. No one approached. The minutes stretched painfully. At last,
I'm totally
the heavy
fine.
doors
That's
opened,
great.
and Judge Whitaker
Catherine.
emerged. But something about him had
That's a
changed.
good news.
Gone
You
was
know?
the detached professionalism.
I'm just
Instead,
cleaning
he walked
my
slowly, deliberately, his face set with a
nail
gravity
too.
that hushed even the whispered side
My
conversations.
toenail.
He took his seat and looked straight at Samuel
Because I
again.
think they have an
Mr.
ingrown
Hayes,
already.
he said, voice low but firm. Before this court
I
proceeds,
can feel
I am
it.
ordering an immediate review of your military records and via status. This case will be stayed until further notice. The prosecutor
That's great,
sputtered an
Catholic.
objection, but Whitaker silenced him with a raised hand. Furthermore, the judge continued, this court is requesting assistance from the Veterans Legal Defense Network to provide Mr. Hayes with pro bono representation effective immediately. Gasps fluttered through the courtroom. Samuel blinked,
Thank you,
not understanding.
Patrick.
Whitaker leaned forward slightly, his voice softening
It's
just
been a
a
long
fraction.
time you never
You
come to
are
my
not
live stream, huh?
invisible here, Staff Sergeant. The title hung in the air, heavy
That's
with
why I
meaning.
got my bully.
Samuel bowed his head, hiding the sudden sting in his eyes. Outside the courthouse windows, snow began to fall, slow, quiet, and pure.
Can you
For the
remove
first
the
time in
ribbon?
years,
Why?
Samuel felt something he had nearly
You want my
forgotten.
Macy hair
Not hope,
to see?
but the memory of it. And sometimes that was enough to start.
What is
That
wrong with
night,
my
In
hair?
the silence of his tiny cell, Samuel Hayes sat on the narrow bunk, staring at the stained ceiling. He cradled the photograph of Caroline in his right hands. Her smile,
Do middle part hairstyle. Lidero.
warming the chilled
I
corners
have.
of his heart. If you're lost, Samuel, her voice echoed from some soft, worn place inside him. It's not forever. I'll wait for you. The words had been her comfort to him during his darkest deployments. Now, in the sterile loneliness of Fairhaven's jail, they were all he had left. The guards treated him politely enough, but with that clinical distance reserved for the broken and forgotten. He ate a small tray of watery stew and a stale but most of it remained
Want
empty.
to see beautiful bully. Hi!
It had been replaced by a colder emptiness.
See,
In the adjoining cell,
I found
a
a
younger
love
inmate, all
for
revived with bitterness.
me.
Here, Samuel shifted painfully
Justify, hi
to
beautiful, I'm
Another
back.
note,
Shout out to you,
thinking
welcome
the
to my
world
live
was ending.
stream.
The boy muttered.
Justify,
Loud
how
enough
are
for
you?
Samuel to hear. Bet you made up all them war stories too. PTSD, yeah right? When Samuel didn't respond,
Good
the
morning
kid
from
pushed harder,
Philippines.
giving Samuel a rough shove as he walked past
Oh
to
my
the sink.
god, I think I have
Samuel
ingrown
stumbled
here.
against the metal bunk,
Ano?
catching himself on the frame. Still, he said nothing. No rage, no retaliation. Just a quiet endurance honed over too many years of fighting battles no one ever saw. Back in his seat, Samuel
Good you.
let the
I'm
anger
just
roll over him
great.
and away. He simply
Thank you
pressed
so
Caroline's
much.
picture to his chest,
Did you
whispering
see
so
it?
softly it was
Katri.
almost prayer. Just holding on, darling. Just holding on. Across town, in his dimly lit chambers, Judge Thomas Whitaker bent over stacks of documents and old military files. A pot of burnt coffee sat untouched beside him. He had pulled Samuel's military service record, and the more he read, the more not of
Fighting
shame
with
twisted
your
tighter
nails.
inside his
Yes.
gut.
There's
Samuel's
an
file was a tapestry of sacrifice. Bronze Star for
because it's
valor
been a month
against
already. I never
for
clean
shielding
it.
wounded comrades
No, I
during the
mean,
border attack.
I clean it,
Two
but I
Purple
never go
Hearts,
to the salon.
awarded for injuries
So
sustained
I let
saving
them to
civilians
take
during a
my
street ambush. Combat Action Ribbon
my
for
ingrown, but
direct
now I need to do
engagement
it.
under enemy fire. And there, among the commendations, were mentions of Samuel's acts of
Fighting for my
humanity too.
nails. Yes, I am.
Letters from fellow Marines and even Iraqi civilians, describing a man who had not just fought wars, but carried wounded
I
children,
have an ingrown
shared
here.
scarce food with strangers, taught young
Yes,
Marines
it
to
is.
read and write in the dusty evenings between patrols. A true shepherd in the worst of storms. Whitaker
Guys,
leaned
like
back
and sub.
heavily,
Thank you so much,
covering his
Justify.
face with his hands. How had they let him slip through the cracks? The answer was simple. They hadn't slipped. They had
Oh
shoved
my
him.
god.
When Samuel returned from his final deployment in 2005,
I need to
Caroline
do
had
it
been waiting.
little by
But the
little, guys.
PTSD, unacknowledged and untreated,
Big
had
patient.
eaten at him like rust.
No
When
problem.
Caroline fell sick,
So
he
you
tried
don't
to
have
fight
work
for her,
now already?
too. Tried
Justify.
to navigate the
How was
VA's
your
impossible
kids?
bureaucracy. But a missed appointment here, a lost piece of paperwork there, and their
How was
small,
your kids?
fragile life had crumbled. By 2007, with Caroline gone, Samuel had no address to anchor him. No address, no benefits. No benefits, no survival. Forgotten by the nation he had fought for.
That's great.
Until now, Whitaker closed the file and reached for the phone. The next
You don't
morning,
have work today?
Samuel sat shackled in the transport
Today
van,
here in the Philippines, guys,
bumping along the icy
is
streets back to the courthouse. He
today
didn't
is Saturday,
expect
honey,
anything
right?
different. More hearings,
Wednesday today.
more polite apologies masked as legal procedures.
Yeah, it's Wednesday
More
today here in
slow
the
motion.
Philippines, guys.
The bailiff unshackled him outside courtroom 3. Straight inside, Sergeant, the bailiff said softly.
Hmm.
Sergeant. The word struck Samuel
Oh,
like a
no.
sudden hand to the chest. Inside, the atmosphere was different. The courtroom was full. Not with angry
Hi,
citizens or
everybody.
bored lawyers, but with
You don't have
soldiers.
work, Justify. How about you,
Marine
Katri?
officers stood at attention at the back of the courtroom, dressed in immaculate dress blues.
Me too.
The
I need
sharp
to find the
creases in
water
their
soon.
trousers as crisp as razors. Behind them, a crowd of men and
I
women
need to
in
find
civilian
a job
clothes.
soon.
Some in old, proud veteran ball caps. Others holding small American flags folded neatly
To
against
make
their
me
chests.
busy.
Samuel stopped
To make
short,
me do something.
overwhelmed. At his defense table sat a sharply dressed woman, a leather briefcase beside her chair. She rose when she saw him. Staff Sergeant Hayes? She said, her voice calm but strong. My name is Rebecca Monroe, Veterans Legal Defense Network. I'm here to represent you. Samuel blinked, stunned. I don't have money for a lawyer. You don't need it, she said with a small, fierce smile. You have the truth. At the bench, Judge Whitaker adjusted his glasses and nodded at Samuel. Mr. Hayes, he
Tamsak
said,
from
voice clear
Harukok.
and steady. This court has been made aware of extraordinary circumstances regarding your history and service. The prosecutor,
Thank you so much, Katri. You just sent me 2 times already.
Whitaker continued.
9:15 p.m. here. Good morning, host. How are you? I'm doing good. Harurok. Harurok. Do perfect middle.
Colonel Eric Dunham, one of the officers.
Aray ko, mapait ng mata ko.
In measured, precise terms,
Even though my
Colonel
eyes is
detailed
feeling,
Samuel's valor, his
better.
sacrifices, his unwavering loyalty to his fellow Marines and to civilians alike.
I do
He
already.
presented hard evidence that Samuel's VA
That's the
pension had
perfect
been
for
wrongfully
me.
terminated. robbing him not only of financial security.
Nice to meet
but
you,
of the veteran
Harurok.
healthcare
How
he
are you
so
from?
desperately needed. The injustice inflicted upon this man, Colonel Dunham finished, is not merely
Where are you
a
from,
clerical
Harurok?
error. It is a moral failure.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
it demands correction. The words rang in the courtroom's heavy silence. Judge Whitaker's voice broke
Where are you
slightly
from?
as he spoke.
I think it's
This
okay
court
already. I don't want to
recognizes
make it
Staff Sergeant Samuel
worse
Hayes not
than-
as a vagrant or criminal, but as a decorated hero whose dignity we collectively failed to honor. He turned to the prosecutor. Do you have anything further? The young
I don't
man,
like this.
eyes glistening, shook his head. His
Actually, I
state
never
moved to
comb my
dismiss
hair
all
yet.
charges. With
You know
pressure,
why? I'm
the
lazy.
gavel fell once, twice, sealing the words into
Where is my
official.
number?
Dismissed, gone. Samuel stood there uncertain as the room
When I
erupted.
just woke up in the morning, first thing I do, I need to do go to bathroom,
The quiet rustling
brush
of
my
people
teeth,
rising to their feet.
and wash my
Hands
face.
pressed
I never
respectfully over hearts.
comb my hair.
Heads bowed. The Marine
Because you know why?
officers saluted
I'm
him,
lazy.
not as a
I
pitying
need to
gesture,
comb my hair after
but
I
as
take
one
shower.
warrior to another. For the
So-
first time in almost 2 decades, Samuel Hayes stood tall, unbroken, and seen. Samuel Hayes.
I'm from
stood
Korea,
motionless
from
as he
Haruruk.
rose to his feet.
Welcome to my live stream,
The moment
Haruruk.
stretched, suspended in a silence so profound it hummed in his ears. He wasn't sure how long he stood there, feeling the warmth of so many.
Welcome to my
unseen
live
hands
stream
lifting the
from
crushing weight
Philippines.
he carried.
Ay,
Slowly,
I have a new friend from Korea. Lee Song Song TV is my friend also.
He
He always come to my live stream.
His palm trembled slightly. Not
It's from
fear,
South Korea.
but from the unbearable flood of emotion
He's
surging through a
doing
heart
live
full of
and then
forgotten
driving
love. The
around.
bailiff approched respectfully.
Music.
No
He
longer
likes
a guard,
music, I
but a
think.
silent witness to
I don't know
something
if
sacred.
he is
Sergeant
girl or
Hayes,
boy.
The bailiff said softly.
I'm not that
You're
sure.
free to go, sir. Sir. Samuel's
Bully,
throat
bully,
tightened
sweet
painfully
bully.
at the sound.
Ay,
As he
happy?
stepped away from the defendant's table, the gallery parted like a tide.
Happy?
Veterans, soldiers, strangers, all making room, all acknowledging something that had been invisible for too long. Near the courtroom door, a small commotion
I think it's
stirred.
enough.
A young woman with tear-bright eyes and trembling hands rushed forward, pushing through the gathered crowd. Uncle Sam, she cried. Samuel turned, bewildered. It had been years since anyone called him that. The young woman threw her arms around him before he could even react,
Where's my
clutching
makeup?
him fiercely. For a moment, Samuel stood stiff, stunned by the human contact.
Guys, I'm
Then
just
his
gonna...
arms slowly, almost fearfully, came up to hold her. It's me, Ellie, Caroline's niece. Samuel pulled back to study her face. It was there, the trace of Caroline's laughter in the corners of her mouth, the same stubborn spark in her brown eyes. I found you,
Brown
she
eyes?
whispered,
Ito, it's
voice
blue.
breaking. I've been looking for you since Aunt Caroline passed. You just...
Patrick, annyeonghaseyo.
Samuel could barely
From
breathe.
Harurok.
I thought there was
Annyeonghaseyo.
nothing left.
Magandang umaga.
You're not
Good morning
alone,
from
Ellie
here.
said fiercely. Not anymore. Reporters snapped photos as the
Annyeonghaseyo
unlikely
from
unfolded, but no one intruded.
Harurok.
Even they
Patrick, he
seemed to
said, how are you?
understand that this
Hello
was
to you.
sacred ground. Outside the courthouse, the biting wind carried the scent of fresh snow and something sharper.
Like,
A
I
sharp,
don't know.
clean air of change. On the steps, Judge Whitaker approached Samuel quietly. His robe gathered around him like a soldier.
Annyeonghaseyo.
You saved my life
Anong
once,
sayo?
Staff Sergeant, he said, offering his hand. Samuel shook it. The two men gripping each other's
Ay,
arms
boss, look
like
mo.
brothers in the war. And now,
Thank
Whitaker
you,
added, his
guys.
voice thick with emotion. I intend to help you reclaim yours. True to his word, within days, Whitaker personally oversaw the filing of a petition to reinstate Samuel's full veterans benefits, retroactively. Veterans legal defense for a long time. Moving mountains
Thank you for
and
viewers
seeking
in the
The
house.
VA, faced with overwhelming evidence and public pressure after
So we
Samuel's
go out
story
later
hit the
today,
national news,
guys.
issued a formal apology,
We go to
the
another
first of its
unit.
kind, acknowledging the
And
grievous mishandling of Samuel's case.
Spending
A check
time with
for
the
nearly
family.
$278,000 in back pay was
Thank you
delivered
so
by
much,
hand. But
ano,
more importantly, Samuel was
Harurok.
involved in a specialized veterans housing program, offered comprehensive
Yeah, you can
medical
drop
care,
your link there.
and introduced to a community of fellow veterans
I
who
will check
welcomed
it.
him without judgment. 1 month later, Fairhaven held a ceremony at City Hall. They called it a celebration of honor.
Oh,
But it was more than that.
5,230
Banners lined the streets,
subscribers.
children waved small flags, and old veterans
You're a
dusted
man.
off their uniforms. Businesses donated food. Musicians played in the square.
You like
And the
traveling?
air buzzed with a reverence
Wow,
usually
it's a
reserved
nice
for
place,
forgotten
Haruro.
holidays. When Samuel stepped onto the
South
stage,
Korea is very
wearing a
nice,
new,
amazing
neatly
place.
pressed coat over his marine dress blues,
Hmm?
his medals gleaming.
It's
The
amazing
crowd erupted
place.
into a
I'm just
standing
watching
ovation
your
that rolled like
video.
thunder through the town. Judge Whitaker presented him with a plaque inscribed with simple but searing words: for service, sacrifice.
A lot of Filipino there, Harurok, right? In South Korea.
Samuel cleared
A lot
his
of Filipino there working,
touching the
right?
podium with both hands. It wasn't
Thank
just
you for
speaking
watching
longer,
me. Haha.
especially not the
Yeah, but I
smiling
cannot
faces
see you.
turned toward him, waiting not for apology, but for his voice. I didn't save lives for medals, he said.
A lot of Filipino in South Korea, is it?
I didn't fight
Working?
for vengeance. I fought because a man doesn't leave others behind. He paused, the sea of faces blurring slightly as emotion rose.
Oh, nice
When
place.
you come home, he
Very
said,
refreshing.
you hope maybe that someone will come back for you too. Hush, though. And you did. He
Very
whispered.
refreshing
The crowd
place.
seemed to greet his warmth.
Where are you going? The mountain?
Breaking and mending in the same moment. After the ceremony, as twilight painted the town in gold and
Oh,
lavender,
this is live
Samuel
or
sat quietly on a bench in the
upload?
park. The same bench where he had once sat with scraps with only the winter wind for company. Beside him sat Ellie, her head resting lightly on his shoulder. Rocky, the service dog donated by the Veterans Foundation, dozed at Samuel's feet, a loyal companion for the new chapters ahead. Children played nearby, their laughter ringing like bells. The flag above City Hall fluttered in the gentle breeze, casting shifting shadows across Samuel's face. He reached into his coat pocket and drew out Caroline's photograph. Found my way back, love, he whispered, tracing her smile with his thumb. Just like you said I would. Above him, the first star of the evening blinked into existence.
Is that your home, huh? Hi. No, we're just only renting here. We're only renting here for 1 month. It's not our home. It's not our condo. No. We're just renting here for a month only. My old school friend lives in the Philippines. Us. What do you mean, Catholic?
자전거도 타시고 아니면 이제 마라톤도 하시고 러닝도 하시고
My old school friend lives in the Philippines. Oh,
들로 다 계시고
it's not my home. We're just only renting for a month here.
그러고 있습니다. 오늘도 역시 저는 마찬가지로 한강을 한 바퀴 돌려고
It's a nice place.
한강 다이어트
US in Philippines.
1차입니다. 1차
I'm from Philippines now. I cannot go to US. How? If I can,
대교
I want to go to US with my man.
건너서 역순환
My man is only visiting here in the Philippines for me, and he have vacation for 2 months, and we've been together for almost a month already. He will leave me soon, again and again. That's not good for me.
뭐 하는 거 없이 일찍 나오려다가 그냥 이렇게
Friend's home. No, the owner's home. Actually, we booked this condo in Airbnb apps. They are not my friends, but us is their client.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Just do renting their condo in a Airbnb.
물로 여기는
Are you sleepy or ano?
한강이에요. 한강이고
I will document here ano.
저녁에는 또 그렇게 야경이 맛있어요. 평일날은 이렇게 많은 사람들이 나와서 운동도 하고 자전거도 타고 저처럼
You're laughing, Patrick. Why?
Ever made was never just a film. The Passion
Oh,
of Christ
5,000.
broke limits no Christian film ever had. But what many
Why you're
people
laughing,
don't know
Patrick?
is that behind the scenes, this film was
What's funny, huh?
something very disturbing.
What's funny,
happened on
Patrick?
that
You
set.
don't have work today.
Something none of us were ever supposed to know. There were
You
whispers of a
surprised me to
strange
come to my live
presence,
stream
haunting
again.
coincidences,
It's been a long time you
and
never come.
unnatural events that still haunt the people who worked on that set to this very day. Why did Mel Gibson insist on
What's
making a
funny,
movie every studio in
Patrick?
Hollywood refused to touch? Keep watching, because this is what happens when one man decides to cross boundaries men were never meant to. Before a single frame was filmed, before the bloodied robes, and before the Passion of the Christ became a cultural phenomenon,
He's
there
laughing
was
at me.
one man, Mel
Why is
Gibson.
that?
Not the Mel that's commonly described as a global superstar or an Oscar-winning director, but a man on a mission that almost no one understood and even fewer believed in.
Why?
What many people
Why that,
fail
that,
to
that?
understand is the fact that this
Why are
wasn't
you
a
just
film
laughing
planned.
at me?
It was a
Aw.
film he just had to make. But even Mel could have never imagined what he was getting himself into. He didn't know that what would happen before, during, and after this film would lead to the most transformative experiences of his life, and in ways he never expected. Mel's obsession with the Passion. It all began
Hi
in
guys, welcome to my
1990
live stream.
when Gibson was in a
Hey,
place
hey,
most
hey.
Hollywood stars would call successful.
Do you
He
looking
had
so young?
international fame, box office
Because I have
hits,
like this.
and
Look
the
like
rare
I'm
privilege of
no.
calling his own
I'm
shots in Hollywood. Behind the scenes,
I'm what they call
something very
this?
disturbing had begun
Stewardess
happening
in
to
the
this man.
plane. Ah,
There were some
flight
serious
attendant.
demons. There was a
Asyomera.
depression,
Wala nga sa height
a
yan.
growing sense that
Hindi nga
something
kaya
was
ng
missing
height
in
eh.
his life. He was on
Asyomera.
edge, and things got so bad
I'm a Fleer
that he
flight
began
attendant
having
today.
inappropriate
And then,
thoughts.
what is
But
your
somewhere in
airline's
that
diet?
darkness, some
Frank
strong
Airlines.
attachment, Mel suddenly reconnected
My
with his
favorite
faith.
color guys
And it
is
didn't happen in
green.
a
That's
soft and
why
symbolic way.
I
It
buy
happened
this one
deeply
green.
and almost
This one
obsessively.
green. I need
According to Mel,
to use this
in
with the
midst
green
of his
clothes
pain
also.
one day,
With
he
white
just hit his
pants or
knees on the
shorts
ground,
or
asking God
I can't
for
wait to
help.
wear it.
From there, he began meditating on the gospel, especially parts that had to do with asking God for help.
Green.
Parts he had
Green,
read when he
may
was much
ano, this
younger.
one green
And that's where the idea
and
behind
white.
the
Bully
Passion
middle
of
part.
Christ was born.
Parang ano to si ano.
Mel once said,
Why you
"I was a
want
bad
the
guy,
middle part?
a really horrible guy. My
Because you know,
sins
if I do
were
like
to
this,
nail him to
I
the
have
cross.
big face.
So, I wanted to
Actually,
tell
my face
his
is so
story."
small like this.
Mel became fixated on telling the story of Jesus Christ's final hours. Not as a parable or
Fabulous
as some
smile.
sanitized Hollywood epic for pure
Charot!
entertainment purposes, but as it really happened.
Favorite,
in all
fabulous
its
smile daw,
raw,
honey.
brutal detail.
I have a fabulous smile daw, sabi ni Katrik.
He went over scripture,
You don't have work, no?
studied the stations of the
Katrik.
cross, dug into historical texts, and even consulted mystic writings.
I need to
like
change
the
my nail
visions of
polish
Anne
because it's
at
not good
Tilbury.
anymore.
He wasn't
So I need to
interested
clean
in opinion.
first.
He wanted accuracy, realism, and authenticity. He decided that if Jesus was going to speak, he'd speak in Aramaic.
Found a love
If Romans were present,
for
there would
me.
be no English,
You want to
no
sleep?
modernism. Absolutely nothing to soften the blow of the film. And that's exactly where the problems began. Because
So maybe we go to the...
he figured out
Oh,
that
I'm back.
Hollywood wouldn't touch it if he worked the script. But he also realized that if he compromised on the little details, they wanted him to change. The entire
You don't have
essence of the
work
film
at Rick.
would be lost. And so he did
It's
the
been a long
unthinkable.
time you never come to my
Mel
live
made the brave
stream.
decision to fund the entire project.
You don't have
himself.
work today.
$30 million of his own money for the production and another $15 million for marketing.
So soon I will be able to do
No
a
studio backing, and definitely
do
no
a
safety
what do you
nets.
call this
The stakes were
treatment
extremely
or
high.
botox for my
If this
hair,
film failed,
so that it's become
just
like
be a
all
flop.
of this baby
it
hair
would
is
be a
getting
full-blown collapse.
street.
But Mel didn't
Botox.
care,
It's a treatment,
because at
guys,
this
for the
point,
hair.
this film wasn't just a business deal anymore. It was a calling. And he was about to break every rule in the book. But his next decision raised even more eyebrows. Mel decided that he didn't want the usual Hollywood stars. of the
Nice.
movie.
Yes. So
No
that's why you
famous
need to send
names,
me
no
more
distracting faces,
for my
and
treatment,
definitely
Catherine.
no A-list actors
Because
who
you
were stories from the story.
You always want to see my bully. Huh?
Timeless
And this like
and
this.
anonymous. So audiences wouldn't see the actors. They'd simply see
Always trying to
Christ.
see what?
And that's how Mel decided on the man.
He
whose
always
life
see my
would
hair like this,
change
Ani, oh.
this film,
Like that.
Jim Caviezel.
Like
Jim
that.
was a serious, devout Catholic actor
Like
who
that.
at
Oh.
the time was best
My
known for
viewers.
supporting roles. He had the intensity Mel was looking for. and
Bully wants
to take
be
on the
boo
most
big
demanding
smile.
role imaginable.
Oh, bully
When Mel
lover.
offered him the part,
Yeah.
Jim
I'm a
didn't
bully
hesitate.
lover.
He was ready for
My man
whatever
also like my
comes.
hair. Long
In
hair.
fact, after offering him the role, Mel reportedly called him back and asked him not
That's
to
why
take
he
the role,
asked me to do a
saying,
treatment
"You'll
soon.
never work in this town again." But
You
Jim
know.
responded by saying, "We all have to embrace our
Do my
crosses.
treatment hair
Jesus
soon.
is as controversial now
It's
as
very
he has ever
expensive,
been.
guys, you know.
Not much has changed in
My man is
2,000
getting broke
years.
already because of
From there,
my
the
because
cast
of
took
me.
shape, and then Mel announced his extremely brave decision to have the entire film shot in Aramaic, Latin, and Hebrew, with no modern translations on screen during filming. The idea was to immerse the audience and to remove any modern filter from the experience. Of course, subtitles would be added later, but Mel's hope was that even without
I'm bully
understanding
lover.
words, viewers would
Find
understand
the love.
the betrayal, the agony, and the sacrifice. And so, language became part of the texture of the film, and the sound of it carried even more weight. The harshness of Roman Latin and the mournful cadence of Aramaic made the world of the film feel completely removed from anything modern, yet emotionally
Honey,
immediate.
honey,
But
my
that's not
love.
the only bold decision Mel
You
made.
need this one. You want to use
Hollywood
this one,
could
huh?
have built a digital Jerusalem on a green screen,
Huh?
but he said no. Instead, he wanted real terrain, rugged mountains, cracked earth, and weather that would be real. And so the filming was done in
Okay, we
Matera,
need to
Italy,
find a brush,
historic
guys.
town carved into rock. Its ancient stone dwellings gave the perfect biblical look. It was eerie, raw, and untouched by modern life. But the conditions there were brutal because the cast and crew members had to endure freezing temperatures, dangerous winds, and unpredictable storms. They built an entire crucifixion site on a hill outside the town. It was a full-scale recreation of Golgotha, with wooden crosses, dirt paths, ancient tools, and nothing fake or plastic. As pre-production turned into preparation for filming, several people, from the actors to the crew, began to feel that this project was different. Jim himself would later admit that they all knew something else was going on. Something very strange, out of the ordinary, was happening. Stories began to circulate about quiet moments of reverence on set, about people breaking into tears during rehearsals, about a kind of spiritual force. And as cameras finally began to roll, it became clear that they were not alone on that set. Strange happenings on the set. Cameras had barely begun to roll on the Passion of the Christ when the atmosphere shifted. This wasn't like any other movie set. What was supposed to be a rigorous spiritual production was turning into something else. Something that, to this day, many of the people involved still can't fully explain. And it all began with lightning. You see, when he took on the role, Jim Caviezel had automatically committed to a punishing physical performance. We're talking about full
I
body
think it's
makeup,
okay already.
hours on the cross,
Where's my brush?
lashes, bruises, dirt, and blood. But what
Okay,
he
we
and
need to
others
put
on
down
that
nail
set
polish
didn't
now.
expect was the sky turning against him. That's right. During one of the scenes on the hill of Golgotha, while standing on the cross, Jim was
I
struck
found
by a bolt
love
of lightning.
for
No one could
me,
believe it. The jolt
darling,
threw
just
him off
by
balance,
my
and
way.
he bit through his tongue and
Follow
cheeks.
my
According to
lead.
the actor, the lightning strike eventually led to 2 heart surgeries,
Open
including
the
an open
door.
heart surgery, along with
Right.
lots of medication. Thankfully,
But
the issue was
what if
eventually
all
corrected years later.
sweet
But what's even stranger is the fact that a few minutes after Jim was struck,
someone
lightning struck again.
waiting
This
for
time, it hit the
me?
assistant director, John Michelini, who had also been struck previously on the set, and he survived once again. Twice, on the same set, same shoot, same location. How many times does lightning strike twice in the same place? Scientists call it rare, but those on the set started calling it something else entirely. Some said it was a sign, others said it was a warning. But that wasn't the only unnatural thing that happened on
Tura,
set.
tura.
Reports have it
You
that
can
members of
tell
the
me
crew
next
started
week.
speaking in hushed tones about a strange presence on set.
Okay na.
Not something visible, but something they could feel. Some others described feeling dizzy, nauseated, or suddenly emotional during filming, but only during certain moments, like the whipping, the carrying of the cross, and the death scene. Even
This is my
Mel Gibson,
ano, this is
who was
my
known for being composed and focused, was seen walking
favorite
off set
polish,
during these
nail
moments.
polish.
Some said he was praying, while others said he was crying. The location of the shoot, Matera, Italy, isn't known for dramatic weather, but during filming, it became strangely unpredictable. Sunny mornings would turn into blackened skies by midday, only to return to clear, windless afternoons within minutes. A scene would begin under calm skies, and halfway through, powerful gusts would slam through the set, knocking over equipment. Sandstorms would appear from nowhere, and tents would be ripped from the ground. Sometimes, just as quickly as it started, there would be silence. At some point,
Sana all
it began
Katri.
to feel less like weather challenges and
Sana
more like a
all.
warning. But let's talk about Jim Caviezel, the actor who took on the role of Jesus Christ. Some say he wasn't just acting.
I'm
the role
already
of
live for
Christ,
1 hour
he
and
was
15
literally
minutes,
in
guys.
darkness.
Wow, that's a
Do you
long.
know that during the
Good job,
scourging scene,
internet is
the whips
working
were
good.
carefully designed to miss his skin? However, during one take, the angle shifted slightly, and one of the barbs caught his back. The strike tore into his flesh, and it left a 14-inch scar. But that's not all. Later, while carrying the massive cross, Jim slipped and dislocated his shoulder. In fact, reports revealed that some screams you hear in the final cut of the film were not acting. They were real. Makeup artists would later reveal that some of the bruises appearing on his body were not makeup. They were real, and they could barely differentiate between them.
Okay.
Jim also contracted hypothermia during the crucifixion scenes, which were shot in cold, stormy weather. And that's not all. He had to deal with extreme stress, physical strain, and extreme exposure during filming. His body had been pushed to the edge, just like the character he was playing. And here's the eerie part. Do you realize that Jim Caviezel's initials are JC? Same as Jesus Christ's. Also, he was 30 years old during the filming, the same age Christ was at his crucifixion. Was this a coincidence? Or was it something more? But Jim wasn't the only one affected on that set.
Okay.
Several other cast members
I just
reportedly
finished
felt ill
my
during or after key scenes.
hello from Katrik.
There were
Hi,
sudden
you stand like
fevers, sleepless nights, and nightmares. But through it all,
So I
Mel
need to
Gibson
end my
never
live
gave up
stream na
statements
guys
about the
because
supernatural events on
enough
set.
already. 1 hour is
But
enough.
those closest to him noticed
And
the
more than
change.
1 hour. Thank you
He
so
became more
much.
withdrawn and more serious.
Thank you,
He
Katrik.
reportedly started
Haroro.
each day with prayer and was known to pace in the early mornings, reading the Bible under his breath.
Bye-bye, guys. Tomorrow again.
It felt like the film had become a battlefield, not between actors